Yeah, good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for the introduction, Jenny. I'm Philipp from SYNAOS from Germany, and today I want to talk about intralogistics, about manual intralogistics, so forklifts transporting material, but of course also about mobile robots, so AGVs and arm-airs, as you can see them in the back. And I want to talk about the impact of software on this and how software can orchestrate all those transport units and make those processes really efficient and very productive. If we are changing to my presentation, please. Okay, now there's my presentation. At SYNAOS, we are doing exactly this. We are orchestrating intralogistics flows, and we've built an intralogistics platform that is covering all of those different automation stages. So beginning with manual processes, optimizing those manual processes by digitalization, and then bringing mobile robots into the game, and then, of course, also scaling those automation scenario, because that's what all of this conference is about, right? About scaling, and that's also very important at automation, because you have to make the right choices right in the beginning to be able to scale automation. As I said, we are connecting mobile robots, forklifts, but also the people. And before I'm going into all the details, maybe just some brief words about the SYNAOS so that you know who we are and who is speaking here. So we were founded 2018, have around 100 employees now. Our headquarters is in Hanover, Germany. We have employees all around Germany, all around Europe. We also have an entity in the United States. And also, we are here, so we are also covering the Asian market now together with our partner Gradion, and are also scaling up here. We are orchestrating small mobile robot fleets, but as you can see, we are also orchestrating big mobile robot fleets, like more than 100 devices running in a factory, transporting material, transporting maybe also products in those factories. That's, from our point of view, where the future is, those big mobile robot fleets taking care of all the material movement. Down there, you can also see some of our customers, so big automotive companies like Volkswagen, automotive suppliers like Schäfers and ZF, also other producing companies, and also other industries coming more and more into the game, like fast-moving consumer goods, or also Harry Brot from the food and beverage industry. And at the end of the presentation, I will also share some insights and some case studies of those installations to show you how it looks when you have orchestrated and optimized intralogistics in practice. But before doing this, I also want to talk a little bit about the market, our view on the market and what is happening out there at the moment. And for this, I brought some statements, four statements about the mobile robot market and what is happening at the moment. First of all, a little bit more general. We are talking about intralogistics today. And why are we doing this? Why are we building a software for intralogistics? Because we believe there's a huge potential in intralogistics and factories and warehouses at the moment. Often production processes are highly optimized, so there are people taking care where the boxes are standing to avoid waste in those processes. But often in intralogistics, there's no optimization. The processes are very manual. Also, order processing is very manual, and that is why we see there's a huge potential to optimize those processes and make them more efficient. And of course, when you are now looking at this field, mobile robots will get more and more important there. So today you have a lot of manual processes, but mobile robots, AGVs and arm-airs, that will be the future. And not only having one mobile robot there or 3 mobile robots, we are looking at 50, 100, 200 mobile robots in one factory, one warehouse. And that is what will happen out there. Those fleets of mobile robots will become bigger and bigger in one installation, and of course then you need an intelligence to look at this, to orchestrate those mobile robots and to take care of this. But that's only one aspect, and you see this here in my third statement. We are also seeing and believing that the mobile robot fleets will get more and more diverse. So you won't go out there to one vendor and buy all of the mobile robots from this vendor, especially when you're, for example, having 50 sites or 100 sites or even more sites out there. So those robot fleets will get diverse. So fleets from robots from different vendors will become reality and more. And you can also see it down there in the showcase. There we have 2 robots from 2 vendors, but also in other installations it can be even more. So it's important that those robots can also talk to each other and that there is a common language kind of, and Jenny also shortly introduced VDA 5050. That's a standard we are using to solve the challenge of bringing different mobile robots from different vendors together, and I will also address this later more in detail in my presentation. And my fourth statement, how we are seeing the market and what is our understanding of the market, is software is very important in this field. And we believe there will be a clear separation between hardware and the software on the hardware, so the onboard software, and the cloud software, which is orchestrating all of those participants in the factory, who is speaking to the mobile robots, but for example also to assets like doors, like elevators, like the fire alarm system, because we believe you need one intelligence to orchestrate all of those participants. And we also believe that will be a cloud software, because in the cloud you can scale up systems very fast, you can scale the capacity for computing you need, you have backup mechanisms to make it very stable. So that's exactly the differentiation we see between local advantages or local approaches and then the central computing heavy software running in the cloud. So that's our view on the market. And now we have kind of this target picture of a fully automated factory where robots are driving around and are moving the material. We have the software running in the cloud, taking care of everything and orchestrating everything. But how to get there? That's kind of now the big question, right? And what to do to come there. And this process, to be honest, it's not like snipping the finger and then everything is automated. It's a journey. And that is why I want to introduce you to this journey a little bit. Now it is. So often, of course, when we are looking at this journey of optimizing and automating intralogistics, everything starts with manual processes, right? So the first very important step is to look at those manual processes, to analyze those manual processes, and also start optimizing those manual processes. Often with this measure, you can reach a high potential and have a leverage on optimization. Next step, after you have a very good manual organization, of course, would be introducing mobile robots and starting this automation journey. Maybe you have a first pilot with one mobile robot, maybe then you can add a second one, so that you and your people are making experience with mobile robots in the real-life factory. So not only in a showcase, but really in factory and productive operation. Because then new challenges are arising, the manual and the automated world have worked together, so the people, of course, have to be trained, change management is very important. So the next big step, introduction of first automated processes and first mobile robots. And then, of course, then it starts where the fun begins, the scaling of automation. And as I said, right in the beginning, it's important to make the right decisions, because otherwise you will never get to this point of scaling automation. You will be stuck here, having maybe one robot driving around or 2 robots driving around, and then it ends up in kind of automation museum, because you have to make the right choices right at the beginning. For example, introducing a right software which is interoperable, which is flexible, where you can introduce different mobile robots from different vendors, to be able to reach this point of scaling automation. And now, why are maybe also some people failing to reach this point? And what is happening down there when you are doing automation and you are looking at the material flows in a factory or in a logistics centers? There are different scenarios for material flow. And as I said, often, of course, when you begin this journey, you have complete manual material flows. So for example, here shown with those green dots, there are some sources and some things where the material has to be picked up, where the material has to be brought to, but everything is manual. For example, with forklifts, like a classical forklift, a guy is sitting on, is driving there, maybe because somebody is calling him, maybe he has some electronic digital support, but everything is manual. The first step then would be to introduce some isolated automation. So for example, you have some mobile robot from one vendor, here shown in blue. You have another mobile robot from a second vendor shown in yellow, but they are not kind of interacting with each other. They are in separate areas, they are not sharing roads, they are having their same areas where they are moving, so it's not a big challenge from the integration point of view. But of course, as I said, often that's not the reality. Even if you start to introduce automation, there will be manual processes around it, and there will be interaction with manual processes. So for example, a mobile robot will be blocked because something is standing in its way, for example, a manual forklift or something like this. So it's always important to keep this in mind. It's not like snipping the finger, having only mobile robots, there will be manual processes. But now we made a good choice here and organized it well, had a good rollout. We want to go on with automation. What is happening now? We are getting to a scenario which looks a little bit more like this, complex automation, where you maybe have a third vendor because he's having a special vehicle type, and the automation scenarios or the different mobile robots are interacting with each other. They are driving in the same area, and they want to use the same roads, they want to go through the same doors. So now we have to be able to talk to all of them. We have to make sure they are speaking the same language, they are speaking with the same central intelligence, and to also not only integrate them, but really optimize them, taking care that the assignment of the orders to the mobile robots is really effective so that there are no long driving routes without transporting material and something like this. So that's also very important in this scenario of complex automation. And as I said, the reality again, it's not only because of automation, it's also again about manual material flows happening in the same area, in the same factory. For example, we have very big installations where we have 100 mobile robots, but in the same area, 100 forklifts are driving around. So the system has to be able to deal with this, and that's kind of the reality, what's happening on the shop floor during this journey of automation and scaling automation in a factory. And because there are those different scenarios, we decided to develop a platform that is able to orchestrate all of them. So starting with people, with forklifts, but also then with more and more mobile robots and with different mobile robots from different vendors. And how this platform looks like, I want to show you on this slide and in the next slides a little bit more. So we have different products starting, for example, here with the real-time localization for manual processes. So that's a small box, a small device you can put on a manual forklift. Then you get the position out of the manual forklift and can use this data for optimization or even integrating the system into an automated scenario. Next step in this automation journey could be the forklift guidance. So still focusing on the manual processes, that's an app on a device, giving the forklift driver instructions where to drive and what to pick up, which orders should be done next. So starting to optimize and support those manual processes with digital means. And then, of course, our third solution I also want to talk about today a little bit later, our mobile robot fleet management, exactly doing this, talking to the different mobile robots from the different vendor, orchestrating them, telling the robots who should do an order, who should go to charging, always looking at the overall system and the best solution for the overall system and not a local optimum. And our fourth solution, the warehouse execution, taking care about storage areas, where material should be stored, acknowledging those things, also guiding pickers through warehouses. So that's what's happening in our warehouse execution solution. And as you can see, we are combining all of those solutions on one central platform to be able to deal with those different automation scenarios and also kind of accompanying you as a customer on this journey, starting with the optimization of manual processes till the complex automation scenarios, and you don't have to change the software on this journey. You can do this with the SYNAOS Intralogistics platform. From an architectural point of view, it looks a little bit like this. We have our platform running on the application level Often we are connected to an ERP or WMS system like SAP or other solutions, but we also can start with really easy ways of order creation. For example, with a push button, with a physical push button or with a virtual push button to start easy and then later on get to those most complex connections to the existing IT world. But as I said, it's no problem to do this also, of course, for scaling and rolling out the system then on an enterprise level. On the shop floor, we are connected to the mobile robots. As I said, we are using the VDA 5050 standard for this. Jenny talked about, together with Gradion, we are also offering a service for mobile robot vendors. Maybe if you're here from a mobile robot vendor to get onboarded and certified to the standard. We are connecting the forklifts, the people, and also, of course, another important aspect, the different assets that are present there in a factory. So as I said, for example, doors, fire alarm systems, everything like this, because also there a central intelligence has to be able to communicate with them to enable the transport and make the transports efficient. But it's not only about the integration. A very important part, especially when the fleets are getting bigger, is the optimization. There's a lot of data outside, data about material movement, data about the condition of stations and something like this. And we have to use this data. We have to take care of this data and use it for optimizing the processes. But what is the reality at the moment? Often there is a lot of data already, which is kind of into the systems or fought into the systems by the connectivity. But in the end, there's kind of a break. So a person often is sitting in front of this data, doing some analysis, maybe doing some Excel analysis with this, and then is deriving some KPIs from it. But there's always a kind of split in between. And our approach is a different one. We want to kind of close this gap, and that's what we are doing with our system, so that we are always planning and scheduling in real time, based on the real data we have at the shop floor at the moment. And we are doing this in a continuous way with our continuous real-time optimization. So that whenever there is a new event, for example, the mobile robot has to be stopped, or a new order is coming in, or there's a problem on the shop floor, we are adapting the plan to this new reality. And we are doing this in a continuous way, always comparing all the transport orders we know to all the mobile robots or all the transport resources we have there, to really get an optimal result and calculating 200 to 300,000 solutions per second to reach this goal. And this is how we can get a high efficiency in the processes and have a really good result in the end, looking at the mobile robots that are needed for performing the transport, or, for example, looking at delays that can be lowered very high. But now I want to talk a little bit more about the different solutions and what we are offering together with Gradion also here on the Asian market. First of all, our real-time location. So that's really switching forklifts from offline to online. And I also brought a small video. It's a small sensor kit you can mount on a forklift or another manual vehicle. It still stays manual afterwards, but of course, we are collecting data based on this device, and it's a camera technology, it's a camera inside, camera technology, vision technology is used. We are getting the position of the manual vehicle, the forklift out it is. There you can see how it's mounted on the forklift. And then we can use this to visualize the forklift in our software, but of course to collect this data and analyze it, looking at it, and optimizing those manual processes based on the data we collected with the real-time localization. The big advantage is it's really easy to install and fast to install, and then you directly have insights into your manual processes that you maybe have not had before. So for example, I've been at a plant director recently, and he was standing there all the time looking at the drivers, at the manual forklift drivers, and he said, they are always driving empty while you're doing this. And he really didn't have transparency about the efficiency of his manual intralogistics processes. And that's a mean how you can get this transparency and also then, of course, have a good understanding of your manual processes and a good basis for automation later. Our second product I want to talk about is our forklift guidance. So that's still for the manual world, but there we have then an app where the forklift driver gets instructions from our systems for the orders. So which order to do next, and Combined with our optimization I've talked about and this approach of optimization, we can reach a much higher efficiency in the manual transport processes as well. And of course, we know which order has been finished, which order will be done next. And that's exactly what our forklift guidance app is doing. So guiding the manual forklift drivers on their way to transport the material in the factory and raising the efficiency of those processes. And of course, last but not least, our course automation solution at the moment, the mobile robot fleet management, where we connect different mobile robots from different vendors with this VDA 5050 interface, this global standard. I will get into the details shortly. We are assigning the different orders to the mobile robots. We are taking care of the charging. We are taking care of the traffic management. And the big advantage, it's vendor independent. So as I said, you can connect different mobile robots from different vendors, all of them which are fulfilling the standard. And how it looks like in practical application, you can also see it back there. And we are doing this with small mobile robot fleets, but you can scale it up to 100 or even more mobile robots, because that's exactly where the solution is designed for. And now you heard this term VDA 5050 for several times. This is why I want to talk a little bit about it. So that's a standard that was developed by the German automotive associations, so the VDA and the VDMA, the German machine builders, and they jointly developed the standard. We have been in this working group since the beginning and also, of course, shaped the standard. And it's a universal interface to standardize the communication between a mobile robot or the software on the mobile robot and a central fleet management, a central master control system. And the standard is designed that it does not matter if this mobile robot is a mouse AGV, if the mobile robot is a forklift AGV, or if the mobile robot, for example, is an automated tugger train. It's really technology independent, and you can connect all of those different robots using this standard. And what is happening there, the standard described which messages should be exchanged and, of course, the format of these messages. It's based on MQTT technology, so it's a decentral technology. And, for example, if there would be problems with the Wi-Fi or something like this in the factory, the standard is also taking care of this, because then the robots would just wait for the next step that they can perform. And there's also this task split between the local intelligence of the robots. So, for example, all of those safety features, if a person is stopping in front of the robot has to stop. And this still happens locally, but the whole optimization and all of this can be performed in the cloud now because of this task split that has been designed also in the standard. We are using the standard at SYNAOS to connect all the mobile robots from our partners. I brought some of the partners where we are working with in this section, and also looking forward to add another partner today. You can see our very good partners from KUKA, for example, also having a booth here, and all other companies on this list, some from Germany, some from the United States, some from Asia, some small companies, some very big, very well-established companies. And this network is growing, and also the adoption of this VDA 5050 standard is growing more and more. And it's not limited to Germany, it's not limited to Europe, it's not limited to the United States. Also here in Asia, many companies are using the standard already and taking care of it and use it for projects. And that's exactly what Jenny already also talked a little bit about. We have a 9-step or 10-step VDA 50 or 50 onboarding and certification process that we are also offering together with Gradion for mobile robot vendors. And what are we doing in this process is we are running through 10 phases of VDA 5050 implementation to ensure whenever we are coming to a project in your factory, in your logistics centers, in your warehouse, that VDA 5050 communication is quality tested. So that is why we are going through this process with our partners, with the mobile robot vendors, test all the important stuff like the basic communication, like driving, like actions, so handling, but also something like order cancellation or something else, which, for example, could be the error handling, because automation in factories is never a smooth process. Something will happen, and we also have to take care of those situations, of those special situations, those edge cases, to really reach a stable 24/7 ready automation solution. And that's exactly what we are ensuring in this onboarding process we are offering together with Gradion. And also, you can go to our website and see all of the different mobile robots from our partners that are already went through this process and fulfilling the standard. And of course, if you are a mobile robot vendor, that's also something where your mobile robot could be shown to make it attractive for our enterprise customers. But I also want to talk about some customer cases, as I said, to maybe round it up a little bit in the end. One of our customers, Schäfers, where we are in the process of rolling out the solution in different factories, different sites, using cloud technology, cloud scalability, but also the VDA 5050 communication standard. And in the video, you can see some of those installations, different mobile robot vendors, easy order creation, but also connected to the ERP system. And often the fleets are relatively small and the automation scenarios start to get bigger and bigger there. Another customer story I want to talk a little bit about is our installation at Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles in Hanover. That's really then another case where we have more than 100 mobile robots connected from different vendors. We're having those underrun vehicles here from the company MLR, bringing material directly to the production line, but we also have automated tugger trucks connected to our system, as you can see here, so really big tugger trucks doing long-distance transports of parts to the different supermarkets. And you can see different vendors. And there's then also the control center where people are sitting all the time to watch at the logistic processes because more than 100 robots are driving. And of course, sometimes you need to interact there as well. But there you can see also how big those installations can be and what can be done there. And there we have very challenging processes like just-in-time, just-in-sequence delivery. So that's then really one of those cases I talked about where automation is scaled and you need a good software to realize such a process. But it's not only about automotive, and that's why I also brought this video of Harry Brot. So that's a bakery, a food and beverage company. And there our system is used to transport dough. So the dough is transported to the bakery line, and we are performing different products there. And those robots from our partner, our Movio Robotic Systems, are bringing the dough to the line. There you can see it. Then it's processed there. And another use case is that we are transporting these baking plates whenever there's a changeover and a new product is baked. So that is something else where I wanted to show you another scenario and wanted to show you it's not only about automotive, it's not only about factories. You can use the system in very different scenarios, fast-moving consumer goods, but also, for example, food and beverage, because it's about processes, it's about intralogistics, moving the material. So now I'm at the end of my presentation, and I hope I was able to give you some insights into this journey of digitalization and automation of intralogistics, starting with the manual processes, starting with automation afterwards, and then reaching this point of scaling automation. And I hope I was also able to give you some insights into our intralogistics platform, the SYNAOS intralogistics platform, covering all of those stages of intralogistics, digitalization and automation in one system. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm looking forward to your questions, and also we have a booth, so afterwards, very nice to meet you there. Thank you very much.